All right, class, settle down. You've heard all of the presentations, and I hope you all took your notes because I'm expecting a 5-paragraph essay from each of you about how one of these topics pertained to staying curious. I want to see that nice introduction, good attention grabber, a thesis statement that has something about each of your topic sentences in it, and then I want to see those 3 body paragraphs. Be sure to use your quotes. You know on the AP exam you have to use quotes. And then a conclusion that brings it all together. Oh, by the way, on the way out, I'm going to give you all a brief multiple choice exam, and if you don't do well, this event is going to lose funding. This is what the modern public education system feels like to me as a student in it. We're put in classes that we don't necessarily want to be taken, and given stressful exams and arbitrary assignments in that, and those all contribute to a very stressful environment that isn't as beneficial to us as it could be. This is a system that's supposed to educate us and help us grow as individuals, and it's not doing as well as it could be, and it isn't changing to do better. Now, I'm going to take a step back, and I said something about making us take classes that we don't want to take. And I'm sure that as many of you are aware, some of the most prestigious universities in the world have a liberal arts education. And that means that students are exposed to a variety of classes so that they can get a holistic understanding of the world, and they can have a different perspective on stuff. But the fact of the matter is that these students choose to take this route to education because that's what they want to do. Students pursue this because this is how they want to be able to view the world. They aren't all just told, all right, sit down, I know that you want to do music, but hey, you have to take calculus today. And this system is very beneficial for the students that seek it out. They can grow greatly and accomplish all of the things that they want to do. But these students are choosing to do that. Students that don't choose to do this are instead put in a system and then forced to take these classes that make them feel apathetic not only towards those classes, but towards the system as a whole. And it develops animosity between students, teachers, and the entire public education system. Beyond this, we have standardized tests. And I'm sure that there are many students out there who are cringing at the mere mention of the SAT and the ACT. And beginning this year, PARCC. All of these exams expect students to memorize various formulae and know the chemical composition of a nebula and know who the 5th president of the United States of America was. But when was the last time that you took a standardized test that asked you what you wanted to do in the world and how you planned on doing it? When was the last time that you took a test that asked you how you planned to resolve a conflict in the workplace if something were to come up? These tests aren't looking at us as individuals. They're looking at us as a collection of facts, as numbers, not people. And that's not what we are. Now, this became really apparent to me as an issue because one time I was taking AP Biology. My brother's in college. He's looking at going into medicine. And we were talking to each other on the phone. And because we're gigantic science nerds, of course we ended up talking about Darwin on a regular weekday. And we got to talking about his most commonly misquoted idea, which is natural selection. And many people think that natural selection is this idea that it's the strongest and the fastest species that's able to survive and persist. But what Darwin actually said is that it's not the strongest species, nor the most intelligent that survives, but the one that's most able to adapt to change. And the thing that makes humans stand apart from every other species in this regard is that when we adapt to change, we don't adapt to our environment. We adapt our environment to us. We can't hold our breath for long periods of time. So instead of spending tens or hundreds of generations practicing and increasing our lung capacity, we developed what's called scuba. And now we can swim farther in more extreme temperatures for longer periods of time than we would have been able to for hundreds or thousands of years without it. We can't fly. So instead of just hanging around and hoping that somehow our bone density decreased and we developed wings, we created an airplane. And now we have this machine that can fly at hundreds of miles per hour. Now, we just need to take the same approach that we use on the world around us and apply this to our educational system. Instead of trying to make all of our students fit into this one singular mold, let's mold this system to the individual students. Now, I'm sure I don't need to give you guys examples of how the educational system isn't adapting to us, because every person in this room has experienced, will experience, or is currently experiencing that. So you don't need to hear even more about it. let's go directly to what we can do to change it. The important thing for this is that we need to be recognized as the individuals that we are, and not just the numbers. So let's make that happen. The first way that we can do this is by coming together and making our voices heard. Now, if you all have absolutely no idea what to do and you're just sitting here, okay, but how do we do that? If you really want to contribute and have absolutely no idea what you can do, just during the break, go on Facebook and like the page Students for Change. I made it about an hour and a half ago, and if we can get some steam rolling on it, then what we have is an effective forum through which students can communicate, and it doesn't have to be students. Anybody who's interested can like this and share their experiences. And through this, students and people who have gone through this can communicate and share what they want to change and what they think is wrong and how they want to make that happen. But that's not the most important part. The most important part isn't just going on Facebook and clicking a little button. The most important part is for us to come out and be ourselves. We can't just let this system put us down and make us become just numbers inside of this system. We need to be ourselves and come out and express ourselves and make ourselves known. And through doing that, what we'll be able to do is change this system from a system that programs us as almanacs to instead one that cultivates us as individuals. And I know that we can do this. And I know that when we do this, we, as the next generation, have the power, the potential, and the motivation to change this world.